The night sky over the Persian Gulf is usually a canvas of deep, uninterrupted black. But on the early hours of Monday, March 2nd, 2026, the airspace above Kuwait was violently torn apart by the jagged neon streaks of ballistic missiles, frantic tracer fire, and the deafening roar of supersonic combat. The Middle East is officially on fire. Just 48 hours after a decisive U.S. Israeli military strike assassinated Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the anticipated shockwave of retaliation has arrived. Iranian drones and missiles are swarming the Gulf, hunting American assets in a desperate, chaotic bid for revenge. But amidst this terrifying theater of war, the most shocking devastation didn't come from the enemy. It came from our allies. Picture this: U.S. Air Force fighter jets cutting through the chaos over Jahra, executing their mission in the campaign against Iran. Suddenly, radar locks on, missiles detach, but they aren't Iranian weapons. In a catastrophic, heart-stopping failure of coordination, Kuwaiti air defense systems, panicked and saturated by the sheer volume of targets, opened fire on American planes. 3 U.S. jets spiraling from the sky, smoke billowing from their fuselages, captured on horrific, verified smartphone footage by civilians below. 3 multi-million-dollar marvels of American airpower, blasted out of the sky by the very nation they were operating from. It is the ultimate nightmare of the fog of war. The irony is as bitter as it is dangerous. Central Command has confirmed the friendly fire incident, extending a strained gratitude to Kuwait for their participation, even as rescue teams rushed to pull 6 American crew members from the burning wreckage. Miraculously, all 6 ejected safely and are in stable condition. But the political and institutional casualties of this blue-on-blue catastrophe are just beginning to bleed out. Trust is shattered. Command structures are being intensely scrutinized. And if that wasn't enough, the U.S. Embassy compound in Kuwait is currently smoking from a separate, unverified drone strike. Was it Iran? Or an Iranian proxy exploiting the chaos? The State Department remains chillingly silent. Before we dive into the classified details, the shifting front lines, and what this fatal miscalculation means for the impending regional war, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and drop a comment down below with your thoughts. Because the mainstream narratives are moving too fast, and we are breaking down the brutal reality of this conflict as it happens. The stakes have never been higher, and the line between ally and enemy has just been lethally blurred. Let's get into it. Good evening. We begin tonight with a staggering, catastrophic operational failure in the skies over the Middle East. 3 United States fighter jets have been blown out of the air. But the missiles that brought them down, they didn't come from the enemy. They came from our own ally. And what the U.S. military's Central Command is now confirming as a devastating friendly fire incident, Kuwaiti surface-to-air defenses mistakenly locked onto and obliterated American warplanes. This all unfolded on Monday, right in the terrifying thick of a massive, chaotic aerial showdown against Iran. Based on a comprehensive report compiled by an investigative team, including Aaron Boxerman, Natan Odenheimer, Adam Razgan, Maliki Brown, Amelia Nierenberg, and Rawan Sheikh Ahmad, American pilots found themselves navigating a sky swarming with Iranian ballistic missiles, suicide drones, and hostile aircraft, only to be shot down by the very nation they were operating alongside. Let's get the most crucial fact out of the way first. By some absolute miracle, all 6 American crew members managed to punch out. They ejected successfully, rescue teams swept in, and tonight they are sitting in a hospital in stable condition. Central Command even went out of its way to publicly thank Kuwait for their ongoing partnership in the Iran operation, a diplomatic masterclass in slapping a polite Band-Aid over a near-lethal multi-million-dollar blunder. But why is the airspace over the Persian Gulf suddenly a free-for-all shooting gallery? because the region has officially gone over the edge. Just this past Saturday, a joint U.S. Israeli decapitation strike successfully eliminated Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Ever since that historic assassination, Tehran has been lashing out wildly, throwing everything in their arsenal at American assets across the Gulf. U.S. military installations are under siege. Neighboring Gulf states are panicking, scrambling their defense grids to swat down incoming threats. And in that terrifying fog of war, American aviators paid the price for a jittery trigger finger. Over in Kuwait City, the Defense Ministry acknowledged the early Monday crashes, confirming they rushed the downed airmen to medical care. They claim they are now coordinating closely with U.S. forces to figure out exactly how this massive misidentification happened. But you don't need an official Pentagon briefing to understand the sheer terror of that moment. Geocaded footage flooding out of Jahra has captured the nightmare perfectly. American fighter jets trailing massive plumes of thick black smoke, spiraling helplessly toward the desert floor. And if you thought that was the end of the chaos inside Kuwait's borders, brace yourselves, because the situation just escalated again. Multiple anonymous U.S. officials have leaked yet another massive security breach. A drone struck directly at the American embassy compound in Kuwait on Monday. We still don't know who launched it or where it originated, but raw video from the ground, independently authenticated by the New York Times, shows an ominous pillar of smoke choking the air right around our diplomatic headquarters. Miraculously, there are no immediate reports of casualties at the embassy complex, but the response from Washington? Absolute crickets. The State Department has entirely ignored requests for comment, and U.S. officials are dodging inquiries left and right. The Middle East is sitting on a razor's edge tonight, and the fog of war is already bringing down American planes. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay ahead of this rapidly developing crisis, because this powder keg has just been ignited, and we will be here to cover every explosive second of it. When the dust settles and the burning husks of 3 American fighter jets are cleared from the sands of Jahra, the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East will be permanently scarred. We are looking at a historic inflection point. The assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was supposed to decapitate the Iranian regime's operational capacity, but instead it has triggered a frantic, unpredictable hornet's nest of retaliation. The fact that Kuwaiti air defenses, terrified and overwhelmed by the barrage of incoming Iranian fire, mistakenly shot down American planes, exposes the profound fragility of the U.S. Arab military coalition. This isn't just about 3 lost aircraft. It's about the erosion of institutional trust and the terrifying reality of modern, saturated warfare. If our allies cannot distinguish between an incoming Iranian kamikaze drone and a U.S. F-35 in the heat of battle, how can the Pentagon rely on Gulf state airspace to conduct the remainder of this campaign? Strategically, we are staring down the barrel of 3 very dark future scenarios. Scenario A, coalition collapse. Kuwait and other Gulf states, terrified of further friendly fire incidents and domestic blowback from the embassy strikes, might restrict U.S. operational freedom, forcing the American military to project power from further away, reducing their tactical effectiveness against Iran. Scenario B, Iranian exploitation. Tehran's propaganda machine will weaponize this mistake, broadcasting the burning U.S. jets to the world as proof that American hegemony in the Gulf is collapsing and that their allies are turning against them. Scenario C, uncontrollable escalation. With an unidentified drone striking the U.S. Embassy compound simultaneously, the U.S. is being pressured on multiple fronts. If that drone is linked to a specific proxy in Iraq or Yemen, the theater of war instantly widens, dragging the U.S. into a multi-front ground and air conflict with no clear off-ramp. The dramatic tension right now is suffocating. The 6 American pilots survived, but the alliance might not. The smoke rising over the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait is a dark omen that nowhere in the region is safe. And the central question remains hauntingly unanswered. Who actually fired that drone? And what will Washington do when they find out? The war has just begun, and the deadliest shots might not even be fired by the enemy. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think happens next? Will the U.S. military take over Kuwaiti air defense systems to prevent another catastrophic mistake? Or will this friendly fire disaster force America to pull back its assets? Drop your predictions in the comments below. I read every single one. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on this rapidly developing global crisis, you need to hit that subscribe button right now and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Share this video with anyone who needs to understand the real stakes of this conflict. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next briefing.